Hello and welcome back everyone. This lesson will be about the Dorset Coast, and if you don't know anything about the Dorset Coast, or if you've never been to the Dorset Coast, then I hope by the end of this lesson you'll be keen to get down there and check it out, because it's really not that far away from us, only 2.5 hours driving southwest in the car from school. Well, Mr. Darwin, I can hear you asking. We live on an island and we're surrounded by coastline. What makes this bit of it so great? Well, let me tell you. On this short 95-mile stretch of coastline, the Earth's crust has folded and contorted by the processes of plate tectonics in such a way that 185 million years of geology, remember geology, it just means rocks, so 185 million years of rocks have been exposed and are now being slowly eroded by the sea. Now, as you can imagine, because these rocks formed over the course of 185 million years, they're all slightly different. In the 185 million years that these rocks were forming, conditions would have been changing all the time as the Earth's climate changed and the plates of Earth's crust moved around. Because the rocks were all formed in different ways and at different times, they all resist the marine erosional processes of the sea differently. Some are soft and the sea erodes them easily, and some are hard, so it's more difficult for the sea to wear them away by the four processes of erosion. We'll come back to this soon. Because the rocks along this coastline are arranged in a way that soft rocks and hard rocks are next to each other, the processes of erosion sculpt some very, very beautiful and varied landforms. And this stretch of coastline is undoubtedly one of the most beautiful in the world. And because you can walk short stretches of this coastline and see such incredible natural architecture, 1 million people a year visit as tourists, and the United Nations have classified it a UNESCO World Heritage Site, along with places like the Grand Canyon and the Taj Mahal. Honestly, if you haven't been before, it is truly beautiful. I've linked in the description below a drone flyover so you can check it out for yourself. Now, because there are so many varied landforms along this stretch of coast, there are lots of great examples of the landforms you've already learnt about. So there's Swanage Bay, Old Harry Stack, there's Durdle Door, which is an arch, there's a wave-cut platform at Kimmeridge, and there's also a spit which is called Hurst Castle. So those are just some of them. There are also great examples of coastal management, for example at Lyme Regis. When you take your GCSE exam, it's common for you to be asked to explain a geographic concept, longshore drift for example, and then to use a named example. So the Dorset coastline is great because it's full of loads of examples that you'll be able to use in your exam. Finally, this is part of your heritage. We should be proud of our little island and its strange customs, culture, and the history we have. It's what makes us who we are. The Dorset coast is something incredible, and it's not far from where we live, and we should know about it. Did you know that the Houses of Parliament are built from especially hard rocks which are quarried from this coastline? We'll come back to that. If you need more evidence of the beauty of this place, here you are. This is Durdle Door, which is a magnificent 25-metre wide arch jutting out over 100 metres into the sea. Just look at it. It's incredible. No excuses. If you go with your nan, it will only take you 2 hours and 42 minutes to get there. In my experience, if you drive with a normal person, you could do it in just over 2 hours. I punched in the directions from Biggin Hill here so you can see the location of the Dorset Coast. No prizes for guessing, it's in the county of Dorset and it's in the south or southwest UK. Right, so I've already mentioned how the geology of this coastline has been contorted over millions of years by tectonic processes. Remember, tectonic processes, that's the Earth's crust moving around over millions of years, forming mountains, volcanoes, earthquakes. This photo is of a place called Stair Hole, and it's next to Lulworth Cove. We'll come back to Lulworth Cove, but for the moment let's focus on Stair Hole. And you can see here how the rocks have been contorted. Now, these rocks would have been formed millions of years ago at the bottom of the seabed. Material eroded by rivers would have been washed into the sea and deposited in neat horizontal layers. Over time, because of the pressure of the weight of new material deposited above, the layers would have been hardened into rock. Now, in the same way that mountains are caused by tectonic plates pushing together, these neat horizontal layers at the bottom of the sea would have eventually been folded so that a clear upwards fold, which we can see here, called an anticline, is visible. These tectonic processes have operated on a huge scale on the Dorset coast, resulting in concordant and discordant coastlines. Some of you will remember the work we've already done on the formation of bays and headlands. If not, don't panic, we'll go over it again. The general definition of the word discordant means like disagreement. So someone might say, there was discord in the Houses of Parliament. In music, it means that a sound is harsh or jarring. For example, you might say, the singers continued their discordant chanting. It means that things are at odds or differing. In geologic terms, a discordant coastline is a coastline with differing rock types. Some are hard and firm, others are soft and crumbly. There is no uniformity, so the rocks are eroded by the sea at different rates. Consequently, bays and headlands form. Now, if you haven't seen this diagram before, I want you to pause the video now and study it before continuing. On the Isle of Purbeck, which is part of the Dorset coast, there is a discordant coastline to the east and a concordant coastline to the south. Concordant, as you would expect, means consistency, harmony, agreement. It's the opposite of discordant. The concordant coastline to the south is in contrast then, and because the rock type is uniform, the coastline is fairly smooth. There is one place along the concordant coastline where this isn't true, however, and that's Lulworth Cove, where waves have broken through a weakness in the hard Portland limestone and scooped out the softer clay behind it. The last landform that we're going to look at today is Old Harry's Rocks, which are excellent examples of a cave, arch and a stack. If you haven't watched my explanation of the formation of this landform, you can click the link in the description. There's a stump called Old Harry's Wife, which lies submerged beneath the water. 100 years ago, it stood next to Old Harry. Okay, well done for listening and following along so far. Your homework task is to gather this information on a sheet of A3 paper. If you don't have A3, don't worry, just stick 2 pieces of A4 together. What I'd like you to do is to create a grid like this, or you can print the PDF I've put on Show My Homework, which looks like this, and use the information in this video and your own research to fill in this grid. You'll need to complete some sketches and some written explanations in order to complete this sheet. If you've got any questions whatsoever, don't hesitate. Get in touch with me and I'll help you out. Best of luck.